The similarities between these life philosophies is the rejection of God or divine authority. This arose primarily due to the Enlightenment period, where key figures such as Darwin and his work on evolution raised doubts about the creation story found in Scripture. Alongside this rose the idea of skepticism and using the scientific method to prove religion wrong or incompatible with empirical observation about the world, and in a way outgrow the need for a God. Friedrich Nietzsche was a philosopher who noticed this shift in public perception and wrote about the death of God by constructing nihilism, whereby once we reject God, we also have to reject the notion of an ultimate inherent purpose to our lives, and the idea of objective truth as whole due to the lack of a truth giver. And so there is no ultimate purpose or value to our lives. It is Nihil Latin for nothing. And so the conclusion to this philosophy ends with nothing matters, a complete rejection of everything. However, this isn't the end, as other scholars such as Jean-Paul Sartre build upon Nietzsche's philosophy by adding to his conclusion that nothing matters. And so we have a responsibility to create the meaning. This isn't a forfeit to the meaningless universe, but rather a challenge to the individual. We must construct meaning in our lives however we see fit. Then a man named Albert Camus later conceptualized absurdism, who argues that this void of meaningless ultimately doesn't get filled, like with how existentialism tries to solve this problem. It's all subjective meaning that itself is ultimately meaningless in the end, because the meaningless of the universe remains. The difference between this and nihilism is that it believes we should accept the absurdity of life and continue living in defiance of meaninglessness instead of stopping or giving up. The myth of Sisyphus is the metaphor for life, according to Camus. We must embrace the absurd task of living a meaningless life, just as Sisyphus has to lift a boulder for eternity, as Camus put it. One must imagine Sisyphus happy, and so we must embrace this absurdity, not end it, nor try and solve the paradox. Here is a quick summarized table of their life philosophies, and I hope this video has somewhat helped you understand the basics and differences between these atheistic life philosophies. If you'd like me to go make an entire video on each of these in even more detail, then let me know in the comments down below, and please make sure to subscribe if you've enjoyed.